It's no accident you're here. You were picked for the video. Every chosen one possesses extraordinary abilities. However, some of those abilities tend towards the evil side. For example, when you enter a room, everyone glances at you. They're not drawn just to your evident brightness. They can also detect the dark force within you. They may not express it out, but they feel it. And they are terrified of it. You have an unstoppable will to preserve your ambitions no matter what, and you can see straight through people's masks. You're a blend of contrasts. The world may be drawn to the brightness you radiate, but you must also recognize and respect the darkness within you. That darkness developed in difficult times is not a weakness. It is a weapon. It serves as your protective shield against anyone who attempts to undermine your heavenly mission. You've always had a talent for cutting through the BS, seeing through the smoke and mirrors and revealing what most people are too afraid to confront. It's as if you're the lighthouse in a world full of falsehoods and deception, and you've learned to use your dark side as a tool. These times of ruthless, no-nonsense clarity and rock-solid boundaries are not weaknesses. They're essential components of your spiritual armor. Consider it like a phoenix emerging from the ashes. Your darker traits are the fire that consumes the garbage. They're your sword and shield in a world that continuously seeks to dim your light or derail your mission. They assist you in seeing through people who seek to exploit, control, or undervalue your contributions. You do not avoid people who avoid conflict. You go straight at it, unafraid to expose the cowardice, betrayal, and hypocrisy that surrounds you. The darkness within you is not limited to your own conflicts. It also motivates others to change. It is the power that drives you to delve deep into the most difficult corners of your psyche, confront whatever monsters are hidden, and emerge stronger on the other side rather than breaking you down. These challenges actually strengthen you, making your spirit harder and more determined to achieve your goals. When you turn that darkness outward, it serves as a mirror for others. It compels them to confront their own shadows and fears, forcing them to face truths they've avoided for far too long. You transform into the driving force behind their metamorphosis, as well as the frightening eyes that shatter their illusions and compel them to change. You serve as a living example of the importance and holiness of both life and darkness in a society where these attributes are sometimes misconstrued. Your darkness acts as a protection. However, your light leads. Although your darkness defends justice and your light heals, your darkness requires respect. However, without your light, you would be incomplete and simply a ghost of the strong person you truly are. Accept and enjoy your inner dualism in the absence of this equilibrium. For it is this duality that provides you with the power, resilience, and essential nature you require in a world that desperately needs both your light and dark sides. Cosmic justice becomes a swift and unyielding force because of your unparalleled ability to accelerate karma, and the cosmos reacts to anybody who tries to wrong you with unprecedented speed and ferocity. It does not simply reset the balance. Someone in your network may inadvertently initiate a chain reaction that spirals out of control. If they try to betray you for personal benefit due to greed or envy, they may have a brief victory, believing you have been defeated. However, as time passes, the consequences of their actions become more apparent. They lose a key business deal with the precision and speed of a raging storm. A chance they thought was theirs vanishes, and their once strong social network begins to unravel. As gossip and the reality of their betrayal become more widely discussed, pals move away from one another, sensing the stench of betrayal, and end up alone, staring at the ruins of everything they ever treasured. If you've made it this far, this video speaks to you. Stick around until the finish to discover even more of your secret abilities. Their personal life are impacted as well. When solid ties begin to unravel, their betrayal of you becomes a vicious boomerang that rips apart every element of their life. Their health deteriorates. They acquire a variety of unexplainable ailments. They grow agitated, and sleep becomes an expensive luxury as they suffer from nightmares about their wrongdoings. Every night, their once stable finances have collapsed. Unexpected expenses and losses have decimated their savings, leaving them scrambling to make ends meet. They can't get over the feeling that everything unpleasant that happens to them is a direct result of what they did to you. It's as if the entire universe is against them. Finally, they are forced to confront the harsh reality that they made a big mistake in crossing you. They must now navigate the remains of their own creation after the cosmic scales were shattered, rather than be balanced. You remain unharmed, a monument to the supernatural protection that surrounds you, and the undeniable fact that you are beyond their comprehension as they attempt to pick up the pieces. Your resistance to energy vampires is so great that it not only repels the vampire, but also reverses the drain, leaving them weak and depleted. Someone who tries to drain your energy in the hopes of feeding off your brightness and life force is met with an energy that they cannot comprehend. Your energy is like a fortress, impregnable and fortified by the exact darkness they sought to exploit. Their attempts to undermine you backfired, weakening their own strength and leaving them more vulnerable than before. If someone in your life who is skilled at manipulation decides to play the same old game with you, building a web of falsehoods and arranging a situation to trap you, believing that your light will easily satisfy their hungry desire, they will be met with an unexpected outcome. A complete 180-degree power turn. They begin to feel exhausted by your vitality. Instead of being energized by it, their once steady confidence begins to falter, giving way to a horrible tiredness that pervades their entire existence. When confusion sets in, their formerly sharp and piercing statements lose their impact. They become increasingly lost, the more they try to absorb your energies. They appear to be losing the very life force they were attempting to suck off, leaving them hollow and lifeless, just a shell of what they once were. As the discussion progresses, their mask begins to come off, and their carefully built identity crumbles due to their own deception. Their subtle appeal turns to desperation as they stammer. You retain your composure, unaffected, an unshakable vitality. Your inner darkness acts as a mirror, reflecting back to them the emptiness they have been attempting to hide. They are eventually compelled to leave, fatigued and dejected, because they are unable to carry out the act any longer. In the aftermath, they struggle to deal with the consequences of their actions. Their attempt to take advantage of you failed terribly, leaving them weaker than before. They notice that they are exhausted and that their usual sources of energy are insufficient. They are troubled by the experience and are unable to shake the idea that they have engaged with something much beyond their comprehension. So sleep does not provide relief. You, on the other hand, remain solid. Your energy is not only intact, but also stronger. A testament to the power of darkness and light that exists inside you. An unstoppable force that no one can understand or overcome. You have an incredible ability to act as a mirror, reflecting the hidden anguish and unsolved difficulties of those around you. When someone attempts to undercut or question you, they must confront more than simply your defensive strategies. They confront a magnified and exposed version of their own inner demons. When someone dares to cross you, you become a catalyst for self-reflection, forcing them to confront the darkness they have long hidden. It's not that you draw attention to their inadequacies. They see them in you and can't ignore them anymore. Something unexpected happens when someone in your life who is full of jealousy and hatred tries to approach you with the intention of weakening your self-assurance with a few well-chosen words. You retain your cool in the face of their onslaught, and your unflinching gaze, which penetrates through the very hatred they directed at you, begins to haunt them. However, this time it is not an external force, but rather a reflection of their own worries and insecurities. When they recognize that their own animosity is being reflected back to them, their voice falters. The wrath they try to project onto you becomes internal, revealing the entrenched flaws they have been concealing. As the circumstances alter, they start to stammer and lose confidence. They may sense that the focus is now on them rather than you. Their own unresolved issues appear to be boiling to the surface as the walls of the room begin to close in on them. They witness the stark contrast between your calm demeanor and the anguish within them, and it is too much for them to take. They make an effort to backtrack in order to divert attention, but it is too late. The darkness they bear within has come to light and is painfully visible to all. All of their cruel statements and attempts to discredit you are now reflected back at them, highlighting their own flaws and concerns. They were completely unprepared for the horrible self-confrontation that ensued from the encounter. They tried to control them. They are forced to face an unavoidable truth as they withdraw. I was shaken and confused. Their attempt to make you less than they are has actually made them more like you. They move away not just from you, but also from the reflection of their own darkness, which you so expertly provided as a mirror to the shadows they strove to conceal. You stay solid and untouched by their onslaught, forcing them to confront the unavoidable truth that the battle they attempted to fight against you was actually a conflict within themselves. Your exceptional ability to expose deception renders those who lie defenseless in your presence. You don't simply detect dishonesty. You meticulously pull it apart, eliminating the veneer of lies until the raw truth is revealed. When someone attempts to create a false story around you, they become entangled in their own web and are unable to break free from the unwavering force of your wisdom. Deception is impossible in your presence alone, as if the truth must follow in your footsteps. A dishonest party attempts to influence the outcome of a high-stakes negotiation for their benefit. They have a silver tongue and effectively craft their lies because they believe they can control the conversation and make things go their way. However, you do not back down when they attempt to control the discourse. In reality, your focused stare at them makes them feel less assured, as does your inquiry, which slices through the language like a blade. You pose a basic question. Their carefully constructed facade begins to disintegrate, and they hesitate, taken aback. Every comment you make is like a chisel, chipping away at the lies they've tried to pass off as facts. Everyone in the room notices the shift in authority, and tensions rise. The more they try to deceive you, the more enmeshed in their own falsehoods they get, stumbling over obvious logical flaws and contradictions. Your presence, which is visible to everyone, seems to force the truth to emerge. Like oil rising through water, they realize they are losing control and the story is leaving them. Their voice wavers. They flee in an attempt to conceal their tracks. But it is too late. You and everyone else have already discovered their deception. They are exposed, defenseless, and defeated as the power they thought they had collapses in their hands to manipulate. Who was formerly self-assured is now in front of you, free of every deception and unable to conceal their lies. When the facts become indisputable, the negotiation absolutely works to your advantage. The dishonest party is compelled to accept that their plans have failed completely since they are now surrounded and desperate. They are humiliated by how easy you uncover their lies, and they are left to cope with the consequences of their own dishonesty. But you remain unshakable, having demonstrated yet again that the truth is an unstoppable force in your presence, and that any attempt at deception is doomed to fail. Your innate talent for manipulation and unconscious influence enables you to softly shape the environment around you, showing true intentions while concealing ulterior goals. When you enter into a place, the atmosphere changes, as if the air is thicker with whispered truths. This is not something you do on purpose. Rather, the mere fact that you exist leads individuals to take off their masks and unveil what is underneath your energy. Draws out the tension that exists beneath the surface, as well as the delusions that individuals cling to in order to survive. Begin to dissolve in the face of your steadfast aura. The atmosphere of an otherwise normal social gathering changes the instant you walk in. Even while everyone is smiling and speaking sweetly, there are those who have unspoken wants or grudges, concealed experiences, and an uncomfortable heat that seems to be drawing their thoughts out into the open. When you start a conversation with someone who is holding animosity, what was once an easygoing and fun discussion becomes more focused. The carefully built facade begins to disintegrate. Their hands quiver. Their voices stiffen, and they try not to show it. The underlying tension erupts like a volcano that has been dormant far too long. What began as a simple conversation quickly escalates into a fight that no one anticipated. The room, once filled with the warmth of social pleasantries, becomes into a battleground of truth and raw emotion. As ancient wounds are reopened and long-buried complaints are resolved, individuals who have avoided these debates for years are suddenly drawn into the struggle, powerless to resist the truth that your presence has revealed as realities are tossed like daggers, each more cruel and cutting than the last. The gathering devolved into pandemonium. You remain composed, undisturbed by the pandemonium around you. You brought your energies to a situation where there were numerous ulterior reasons. However, you are not to blame for this mess. The ruin of their once orderly lives, now exposed for all to see, falls to those around you to deal with. However, they may hold you responsibility for the conflicts, an abrupt escalation. They privately know that it has always been simmering below the surface, waiting for someone like you to bring it to light. You are a silent force that has once again overturned the status quo and revealed the truth. As the dust settles and the sound of the conflict fades, your power lies not only in what you accomplish, but also in what you naturally expose, whether people were ready for it. The reality you so casually bring forth shatters the illusions of people who encounter you, leaving them eternally changed. You have a cruel ability to end poor relationships fast and decisively, shocking people. It's as if a guillotine has fallen between you and the individual, when you determine they no longer belong in your life. The line on the sand is cold and hard. There is no warning, no gradual fade away. You can see through the deception and subtle betrayals, and once you decide they've gone too far, you end things completely and permanently. They are forced to confront the void you have left behind, which they cannot grasp or strive to fill. You've put up with their constant undercurrent of jealousy, disguised as friendship, or unfaithful behaviors disguised as care, and these are passive hostile words. But there is a time when you realize you've had enough. Perhaps it's the final straw. Perhaps it's simply the clarity of the morning light. You immediately interrupted their talk without giving them the opportunity to clarify or even pause. When they wake up, they realize they have been blocked, removed, and entirely deleted from your life. They attempt to make sense of what has occurred, but their calls and texts are not returned. They are perplexed and desperate. It feels like they've been expelled, ousted from your existence with unexpected closure. It has devastating results. They revisit all of their exchanges and chats in order to pinpoint their mistakes. However, you have given them nothing to hold to. They are left to deal with the consequences of their own actions. After the sudden and dramatic loss of the life they thought they shared with you, they can no longer ignore little betrayals that seemed insignificant at the time. The weight of their own decisions is crushing them as they come to terms with everything they've lost. They were empty shells of the persons they imagined themselves to be while they were in your orbit, because they had become accustomed to your presence, your radiance and vibrancy. Their system is stunned by your quick departure, which is a surgical stroke that removes the rot with such precision that there is no hope for recovery. They now have to deal with the void you've left behind, standing in the ruins of a relationship they never completely understood. However, you have continued to live freely, undisturbed by the links you shattered. You are now free of the poison that was formerly a part of your life since you made the ultimate and necessary decision to end your relationship with them. You turn away, leaving them to confront the horrifying reality that they will face horrific consequences for crossing you. Your ability to break free is not only a defensive strategy, but it also demonstrates your power and sends a message to those who would undermine you that you will not be frightened. Your exceptional ability to bring to light the flaws and worries that others desperately want to conceal lightens the shadows. These fears occupy and bring them to the surface with an overwhelming power. This is not something you want to do. Rather, it is the unavoidable effect of your efforts to remove people's masks. People near to you experience a quick and agonizing discovery of their own flaws, as if a mirror is held up to their song, reflecting back the facts they have been ignoring. As a result, they are frequently left reeling and helpless in the face of the harsh reality you have accidentally revealed. Someone tries to talk to you during what was supposed to be a simple, informal conversation, sometimes with a sense of arrogance or confidence. They try not to become too serious, but as the chat progresses, they can sense something changing. Their carefully constructed mental mask begins to fall apart as their sentences fumble. You say something that may not seem significant to others, yet it reaches right to the heart of a long-buried anxiety. The tension in the air grows as they realize you've unintentionally brought up a topic they've worked hard to keep buried. The individual's demeanor immediately shifts, and they become defensive. What started as a casual conversation turns into an emotional and heated exchange. They stutter, hoping to regain control of the situation, but it is too late. Their susceptibility is evident and visible. Their carefully maintained calm comes down, and they feel exposed in front of you and everyone else in the room. They are suddenly confronted with the harshness of their own vulnerabilities as their mask of security crumbles. They cannot forget the encounter in the days that follow. Even if your statements were innocuous to you, they resonate in their brains, pushing them to engage in a period of serious reflection. They keep returning to the talk, studying each word. Look, second, in an effort to figure out how you were able to see right through them, they realize that attempting to hide their worries has only made them more visible. To a keen observer like you, they are compelled to confront aspects of themselves that they had previously disregarded, making the encounter both unpleasant and transforming. In contrast, you may walk on without recognizing how much of an impact you've had. Your ability to spot flaws is a reflection of your ability to see beyond the illusions that others place on you, rather than as a weapon, whether they're prepared or not. It is a force that drives everyone in your area to confront their truth, permanently altering them in the process. Others find your unique ability to incite undesirable change alarming and irresistible. You can be a force for change, setting things in motion that force those around you to confront difficult realities they have been avoiding for a long time. It isn't something you actively seek or impose on others. Rather, it is a shift that occurs when you enter other people's lives. They cannot avoid the change you bring, even if they do not want it. When you talk to someone who has become complacent in life, you shake the foundations of their carefully constructed world and uncover the flaws they've tried to conceal. This occurs in the midst of what appears to be a normal conversation. They've developed habits, made decisions based on convenience rather than excitement, and led a comfortable but unfulfilling life. Your words, loaded with a truth they have avoided, begin to burn slowly into their minds as you speak. They initially reject your insights as insignificant or unneeded, but something begins to stir within them. After a few days, they still can't seem to shake the notions you provided them. What began as a light-hearted conversation now haunts them during their alone time, as they begin to question everything they've taken for granted. Their formerly comfortable existence appears to be on the point of falling, much like a house of cards. They try to calm the building worry, but it's too late. The change you've initiated has already started a power they can't understand or control. When the familiar begins to crumble beneath their feet, their initial instinct is resistance. They cling to their old traditions in a desperate attempt to survive. They may become enraged, accusing you of initiating the instability that has shattered their previously stable lives. But in reality, you've only revealed what was already their sadness, a desire for something more, and a fear of confronting their true needs. Their current way of life is becoming increasingly restrictive. Despite their resistance, they find themselves being pushed toward the transformation they have been avoiding for far too long. The transformation becomes unavoidable. As the weeks pass, their years-long veneer fractures and fissures develop, revealing their raw and vulnerable personalities. They are forced to confront their decisions, the life they have chosen, and the opportunities they have passed up. It is a cruel process that shatters their illusions and forces them to start afresh. Despite their reluctance, they understand that this change is necessary. It symbolizes the beginning of a new chapter, which would not have been possible without the drive you provided. But you keep strolling down the road, perhaps unaware of the damage you've had. Unwanted change isn't a hardship. Rather, it demonstrates your power, a persistent force that drives people to change regardless of whether they are ready for the truth you bring to light in such a casual manner. You have an irreversible impact on the lives of individuals you come into contact with. You tread the earth as a natural force worthy of reverence, or simply as a lighthouse. Few individuals truly comprehend the breadth and intensity of your dark side, the side that reveals, exposes, and transforms. Despite the fact that many people see your light, you should not hide your darker side. It is a fundamental part of who you are, the precise thing that evokes both fear and reverence in others, regardless of whether they are ready for the reality. You're the one who brings it to light. You're the quiet before the storm. Recognizing your shadow side includes understanding that your impact extends beyond your visible presence. You have the ability to alter the atmosphere in any space you enter, upend people's warm self-lies and force them to confront truth. Because of your power, you inspire and begin change in others, creating an indelible mark on those who interact with you. It's time to truly embrace this power. Tell them about your experiences, how your presence impacted their lives, and how your darkness has been just as beneficial as your brightness. Your experiences bear testament to the transformative potential you possess, and they are not just personal. If you sense the energy and know you've been selected, now is the time to move forward. By clicking the Join button, you will be joining a community of like-minded individuals. You aren't just supporting the mission. You are gaining deeper spiritual understanding, direction, and divine connection. Today, embrace your higher purpose and elevate your spiritual journey. The universe brought you here for a reason. Don't miss out on this opportunity.